The name of God is I am. That I am. Now, every time you use the name I am, you are using the name of God. How do you use this name? In the book of Joel, there's a line that says, "Let the weak man say, I am strong." Now, one of the things that I want to leave you with here in the time that I have with you today is for you to become conscious of how you use this term, I am. So what I encourage you to do in terms of manifesting is to take out a piece of paper sometime when you're at home, and it sounds like a silly thing to do, but I want you to do it. I want you to write at the top of that page the word that. T-H-A-T, that. Okay? And under that heading, whatever it is that you would like to attract or manifest into your life, I would like you to just write that down. All right? So if it's a job that you want, if it's a relationship that you want, if it's a healing that you want, if it's abundance that you want to attract into your life, whatever it is, just place it underneath that. And come to a place in your life where it is spoken about in the book of Romans, in the New Testament. He calls those things which do not exist as though they did. You must be able to get to this place in your life where you don't use the evidence of your senses, what your eyes tell you, what your ears tell you, what your stomach tells you, what you see written down, what the internet tells you. You want to be able to be in a place where you are living from the end as if what you would like to manifest is already there. To make a future dream, a present fact, you must assume the feeling of that wish as already being fulfilled. Your subconscious mind is listening to how you are asking the universe to provide for you what it is that you would like to attract or manifest into your life. And if you fill your subconscious mind with all of the things that you don't want, that you don't like, that make you unhappy, that make you depressed, that make you worry, then your subconscious mind, which is impersonal, and remember, it can't make a distinction between what it is that you are feeling as a result of what you place into your mind or what is actually happening in your life. It doesn't distinguish one from the other. It's totally impersonal. It's just open to suggestion. And here you are suggesting to your subconscious mind, which will, when you awaken, you will align with the universal subconscious mind, the one mind. You know, there's millions of people out there in the world. There's millions of you watching this program. And you can see the difference between each and every one of you on the basis of your appearances. But there's only one mind. That's what the great spiritual texts all teach us. So now, if you program your subconscious mind to tell yourself, to go over all the things you don't want, all the things you don't like, all the things that shouldn't have happened, all the ways that you were mistreated, all about how terrible the economy is. And, you know, we live in a fear-based world. You want to shift away from that kind of consciousness and use the last 5 minutes of your day to program your subconscious mind with what you have placed into your imagination with your I ams. I am well. I say it to myself every night, especially when I get into that state, you know, that weird state where you're sort of half awake and you're half asleep and you know you're heading towards that sort of subconscious place. And I just remember what it says in the book of Job. I don't want my instructions sealed by going over, I am sick, I am poor, I am unhappy. I just say, I am content. I am lucky. When I wake up in the morning, I don't say, oh, good God, morning. It's the reverse. I say, good morning, God. You know, it's like being grateful rather than being in that place where the things that you don't want are what you have programmed your
life to be. I always think of this as, like you have a currency. And if I were to give you currency to go out and purchase what you want, and every place you went, you took this currency that you have to purchase what you want, and you purchase what you don't want, and then when you get home and you wonder why your house and your life is filled with everything that you don't want, it's because you're insane. That's just insanity. It is. I mean, why would you take the currency that you have to buy what you do, that's there for what you do want, and spend it on what you don't want? Well, the currency that you have for attracting into your life what you would like to have are your thoughts and your imagination and your I ams, your God consciousness. Why would you use it to say, I am unable, I am unlucky, I cannot, I will not? You're throttling, that's what it says in the I am discourses, you're throttling that great I am presence that is located within you. And so the last 5 minutes of your day, as you're about to marinate for 8 hours in your subconscious mind with your unconscious state, you want to go into that state. Even if your senses tell you, oh, you're just fooling yourself and so on. You don't want to use your senses and the internet and other people's opinions, what you see, what you hear. You want to let go of all of that and recognize that anything that you want to attract or create for yourself in your life begins with what you have placed in your imagination and have assumed the feeling of that wish fulfilled, and now you're going to practice it. Because getting stuff out of your subconscious mind is a big job. It really is. Most people are just not willing to do what it takes. I still can't get the Morse code out of my subconscious mind. I need to have a major deprogramming thing. There's that exit sign. It's always there. But that's just harmless. What isn't harmless is, placing into your subconscious mind all the things that you're reviewing about what you don't like, about what didn't happen, about who mistreated you, about how sad you are, about how this can't happen. You are a creator.
You are not an organism in an environment. You are an environed organism. One of the reasons the idea of being able to manifest is so foreign to most of us is because we have been brought up to believe that as individuals, we are separate from our environment. We think it is our role to dominate it. Armed with this kind of logic, we are diminished in our ability to sense our connection to the environment. This third principle of manifesting begins with the understanding that it is absolutely impossible to describe ourselves as separate from our environment. I am coining a new word for the purpose of articulating this principle. Consider yourself an environed organism. This word signifies that there is absolutely no difference between you and your environment. You are your environment, and even more significantly for the purposes of this tape, your environment is you. Try thinking of the external world, your environment, as your extended body. That is, you are not separate from the external world. In this concept, it is impossible to describe yourself without including your surroundings. In fact, it is not even possible to see or hear yourself as a separate entity apart from your environment. For example, describe yourself walking, just you walking. There cannot be walking without also describing what it is you are walking upon. Without the floor or the ground, there would only be your legs moving back and forth, and of course that's not walking. Your experience of walking also includes the air you are breathing, the gravity that keeps you from floating off into space, the pebbles or carpet or sand or cement that you walk upon. And I invite you to shift your awareness away from yourself as an organism in the environment to yourself as an extension of your environment and always inseparable from it. This means that you have to think of yourself as an individual and as an environment simultaneously. Have you ever seen a person with a front but without a back? Have you ever seen a person with an outside but without an inside? Well, these rhetorical questions are meant to stimulate you to consider how you can be differentiated and undifferentiated at the same time, and why this is important in learning to manifest your life as you choose. The nature of the physical world is essentially that of waves. Each wave of energy that makes up a physical mass has a crest or a peak and a nadir or a valley. These tops and bottoms of the waves are always easy to identify as separate, yet they are always together. You can never ever get a bucket full of peaks and observe them independent of their corresponding valleys. This is the fundamental feature of nature. Your front always has a back. Your inside always has an outside. And now you must extend this understanding outward as well. You are distinct, just like the tops of the waves that make up your natural physical self, but you are irrevocably connected to the outer world, just as that bottom of the wave always has a top. When you begin to see this simple truth, mystical experiences of manifesting also open up to you as a genuine possibility. You see, you're either pushing nature around, or you're seeing it as yourself, one or the other. When we think of ourselves as distinct from our environment, we take on a posture of exercising control over it. We destroy forests and swamps and mountains and rivers and wildlife or anything else that obstructs profit and convenience over something we call advancing civilization. We defend these activities without understanding that we are also destroying ourselves. As we have seen, we cannot be described independent of our environment any more than our outside can be described without our inside. When we can respect that which appears to be external to us, we will build to live in harmony with, rather than in control over, our environment. In our personal lives, recognizing nature as ourselves opens up an entirely new world of manifestation. Your new faith will no longer permit you to see anything as separate. The separateness will always be there, just as the peak of the wave is separate from the trough. But they remain inseparable, even while separate. You will have fused the dichotomy that prevents you from putting this connective energy to work. You will begin to view yourself as an organic part of this world, rather than as a separate entity in this world. And then you'll see yourself as an organic part of this world. There's a popular belief that we come into this world. Thus we are continuously embracing the idea that who we are and where we come from are two different worlds. The essence of the third spiritual principle for manifesting your destiny is that there is no separation, and rather than coming into this world as a construction project, you actually grow out of it. You are a result of what the universe is doing on a conscious level, just as a wave is what the ocean is doing, and a plum is what the plum tree is doing. The intelligence that is you, unseen as it may be, is you in every stage of your creation and life experience, and it is also the same in every other person, as well as in all things in our physical world. Notice that everyone breathes the same air, walks on the same ground, and thinks as an organism just like you. You are indeed connected to all of these beings. It is not an accident that someone living in a distant country with different outward physical characteristics and a separate language could die and donate their liver or kidney or cornea to you, and it would accommodate the life force flowing in you. A profoundly important Native American saying is, "No tree has branches so foolish as to fight among themselves." Imagine the result of such behavior by the tree. The tree and all of its parts would die from such an absurdity. Yet that is precisely what we do when we see ourselves as divided from all of the other people who are being peopled from the same divine intelligence. When you know that you grow out of this world just as an apple does from an apple tree, then you identify with the spiritual essence. It is in identification with this inner essence that you make your connection to everything else. And it is with this connection that you begin to attract your desires to your physical world. That power is in you, but it's not yours alone. The power and the magic of this world cannot be reserved for the exclusive use of anyone, including you. It is available at all times. However, it does not belong to anyone. What you are doing as an environ organism is making contact with an energy that is beyond the dualism of the earth plane, and yet is connected to it at the same time, separate but distinct. You are a holistic being with both non-dualistic energy and the energy of the physical plane at your disposal. The Bhagavad Gita, the holy book of the Hindus, summarizes the point of view as profoundly as I've ever heard. Listen to these words. He who sees that the Lord of all is ever the same in all that is, immortal in the field of mortality, he sees the truth. Danish theologian Søren Kierkegaard once said, "Once you label me, you negate me. Once you put a label on me, you negate me." And the Tao is filled with that. God, in reading Rumi this last week, I felt like he and Lao Tzu must have been brothers. And then I find out that He was a friend of Shams of Tabriz. That Rumi and Shams and St. Francis and Lao Tzu and Jesus and Buddha, they're all telling us the same thing. Someone sent me a book that said Jesus and Lao Tzu. And on the left-hand side of the page was all the sayings of Lao Tzu. And on the right-hand side was all the sayings of Jesus. They were almost identical. And Jesus came along 500 years after Lao Tzu. I'm not saying he was plagiarizing, but what I'm saying is that there are eternal truths. So the soul, the invisible part of you, is the part of you that is infinite. Now, this is really the crux of what came up here to speak about this afternoon. The invisible part of you, the part of you that's watching, the part of you that is not what you have and what you do and what other people think of you, that's the ego. Remember, the ego is edging God out, E-G-O, edging God out. In the first 9 months of your life, while you were inside your mother's womb, there was nothing for you to do. There was nothing for your mother to do. Something was taking care of everything. You didn't have to say, oh my God, I hope my nose doesn't come in over here in the back of my head, and I hope, it's like it was all just being taken for you, just being done. Everything. And then you came into this world, popped out, then your parents said, great work, God. We'll take over from here. And in the process of taking over, they taught you your false self and the culture that you were immersed in. And only a handful of us, wow, I didn't even know I included myself in there, but I guess by now I'm starting to. Only a handful have ever really grasped the message that there are no limitations. That which is infinite has no limitations. So hear this, really hear this. Your soul, the invisible part of you, your excitement, is who you are. It's who you are, not this thing, this dust, who you are. Resists anything that tries to make it finite. What does finite mean? It means it stops someplace. It's finite. This microphone starts here and it ends here. It's like it's finite. This big boat that we're on is finite. The clothes that you wear, the body that you have, it's finite. It begins and it ends. It's finite. The part inside of you that is just occupying this finiteness is infinite. And what does infinite mean? Infinite mean? It means it doesn't stop anyplace. As soon as you stop at some place, it's finite. How are you going to stop your excitement? How are you going to say there, that's it, it doesn't exist anymore? Can't turn it off. It's who you are. And your soul, this is what I wrote. The ideal of the soul, the thing that it asks for, is neither knowledge or light or happiness. The ideal of the soul is space, immensity. The one thing it needs is to be free to expand and to reach out and to embrace the infinite. The ideal of the soul is infinity, because that's what it is. It is miserable when it is circumscribed or restricted. Okay? Once you understand this, see, before I had children, I had 8 theories about how to raise children.
Now I have 8 children, no theories. Okay? So, the one thing I've learned as a parent is that nobody likes being told what to do. Have you noticed that, parents? And if you're not parents, have you noticed how you react to your parents when they tell you what to do, or what to be, or how to think, or what you can do, or what you can't do? This is like a universal thing. I see heads nodding. Everybody knows that this is a universal thing, that the ideal of the soul is infinity, because it's your excitement. It can't stop any place. As soon as you try to put it into a box, as soon as you try to circumscribe it, as soon as you try to tell it what it is, your soul will cry out with, "Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what I can be. I don't want to hear it from you. I don't want to hear it from any books that you give me. I don't want to hear it from the church. I don't want to hear it from my culture. I don't want to hear it from," and this is true of everyone. Don't fence me in. But I mean, loving somebody really means, really loving somebody means, I love you so much that I allow you to be whatever you choose to be, no matter how much it conflicts what I think you should be or what I would like you to be. I love you for that. And I impose no restrictions, no conditions. I put no boxes that you're going to fit into.